The builder base was one of the most controversial additions to Clash of Clans, with it getting a ton of hate when it first came out. Most people would only use it to unlock the 6th builder and then just completely forget about it. However, Supercell would end up saving it by introducing builder base 2.0, as a large majority of people preferred 2.0 over the original according to this poll I made. And today we will be talking about why builder base 1.0 was so hated and how all the different aspects of 2.0 ended up saving it. The builder base was introduced in May of 2017 and was massive news for the Clash of Clans community. This was probably the biggest thing that had happened since the release of the game, and this is because of the versus attack mode. This was a head-on battle where you would compete with your opponent to deal the most amount of damage in the least amount of time. It was honestly very fun and very unique compared to the normal game, and also brought in the Clash Royale aspect, as that game was also massive around this time. Also, you could change your troops before the battle to come up with a strategy that worked for the opponent you faced. And this was another really nice and unique thing that everyone loved. And at this moment, the builder base was really just a fun thing to play while you were waiting for your troops to get done training in your home village. But there's also one major problem that everyone started to notice, and it was the fact that you could only get rewards a certain amount of times per day depending on how much you had played before. This basically made progression quite slow, especially considering that it could take multiple days just to get enough gold to upgrade a single wall segment. This started making people just not want to play as much and kind of discouraged them from playing since they were limited in how much loot they could get. The main reason people would actually continue to play was so they could gear up their defenses in the normal village, which made them better. And to do this, you would just need to get certain defenses to a certain level in your builder base to be able to gear them up in your home village. However, once people got these gear ups, they would just stop playing the builder base, as there wasn't really any other point than just having fun. Supercell would end up adding 3 more builder halls over the next few months, but this wasn't exactly a good thing, since at the higher levels it would sometimes take a really long time to find another player to battle against. Basically, it was like matchmaking at Legends League, but even worse since you had to wait for your opponent as well. However, in June of 2019, Supercell would add the Builder Hall 9 update, which would revive the builder base. This is because the new auto hut was added, and this allowed you to get an extra builder in your builder base and your home village. And obviously people really wanted that, since that would save so much time with upgrades. You could unlock it at Builder Hall 6, meaning it was accessible to quite a lot of people, but it was also a massive grind. Despite saying you have to do 4 fun tasks in the trailer, these 4 tasks were actually not fun at all and took a really long time, primarily due to the limit on the loot you could earn. This update brought many people back to the builder base, but similar as the gear ups, once people got the 6th builder, they would just quit the builder base again. And another reason people stopped playing was that it was just a bit repetitive. There were really only a few attack strategies that were used, with many just being spam attacks, and this didn't really make it all that fun and exciting when it was just the same thing over again. But on the other hand, some people do prefer this, and it was a reason people liked the builder base. But one thing that no one liked was the fact that you had to wait for your opponent to finish their attack for you to be able to move on, even if they had already done more damage than you. So all of these are reasons why most people hated Builder Base 1.0, but in May of 2023, Supercell completely reworked the Builder Base with the addition of the Builder Base 2.0. This new version solved so many problems and added in so much more new and unique features. First of all, the loot limit was removed, which was something that everyone liked since you basically wouldn't be punished for playing more. Plus, the troops were also reworked. You could still switch them before the attacks, which is really nice, especially considering they even removed the versus mode that required you to wait for another player. Now, all the troops had a special ability that you could toggle on and off, which made the attacks much more skill-based. And the overall number of troops was also reduced, meaning that you couldn't really use spam attacks anymore like in the past, with mass switches or cannon carts. Some people say that this makes attacking too hard, but personally I really like it since it is much more strategic and brings some more uniqueness compared to the normal village or clan capital. This is the only time where you have abilities for every troop instead of just the heroes. Another massive change that no one expected was the base getting split into 2 different bases. This also made the base building much more strategic and was also a big factor in the attacks since you would have to destroy 2 bases with the same troops, meaning that you could get 6 stars from a single attack. The whole Builder Base 2.0 update really focused on making the game much more strategy based rather than the spammy nature that it normally falls into with the other bases. And I think this is why a lot of people really liked it. But there still are somewhat of spam attacks, namely the baby dragons and P.E.K.K.A.s. But this is really more of just using one troop rather than a spam attack, since there really are very few troops on the field compared to the other spam strategies in the other bases. Either way, people still really liked it since it was very different and much more interesting to play compared to the original builder base, which had become very stale. Also, on top of just being able to get loot from more than 3 battles a day, you are also guaranteed loot from every battle since you weren't facing off against anyone. And this had been a big problem in the original base since it was really infuriating when someone got a 3-star like 5 seconds quicker than you and they got all the loot for pretty much the same results. But despite all of these different things that made the new builder base better, there are still some things that definitely need improvement, with the biggest one being the trophy system. In this system, you basically either just break even on attack or lose a considerable amount of trophies, and trying to gain trophies is just really slow and hard. This can get pretty annoying, but a lot of people don't actually care about their trophies too much, so this just wouldn't really affect them. The Builder Base 2.0 has so many other things that just make it better than 1.0, but those were just some of the main reasons. All of this has really helped revive the Builder Base, and this can be shown from the poll I made where about 80% of people voted in favor of the newest Builder Base. However, there are still plenty of people that just don't like any of the Builder Bases and simply just won't play them at all. This could be due to a number of reasons, with one being that they're just too busy and would rather focus on their home village, since that is obviously the most important aspect of the game. But for other people, they just don't see any reason to play it after unlocking the 6th builder, since after that, nothing helps them with their home village. Regardless, the Builder Base 2.0 is still loved by so many players in Clash of Clans, and I think Supercell did do a really good job with it, and I think they fixed many of the problems that the original Builder Base had. Let me know what you guys think about all of this by writing it down in the comments, or going over to the poll and casting your vote. But with all that said, hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.